the show with Emily and Narinda. Let's get back to the papers and everything else. We're joined now by journalist and former Green Party politician Peg Alexander. Hello, Peg.
Morning, Jeremy.
And you're writing a book, so I gather it's about not so much about weight loss, but what happens after. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Because about 14 years ago, well, I used to be morbidly obese. I was morbidly obese most of my adult life. And about 14 years ago, I lost nearly 8 stone, actually, which was over half my body weight. And I'm still wearing the clothes now, all these years later, that I bought straight after the diet, including actually this top, amazingly. And yeah, so I'm writing a book about what you have to do long term to keep the weight off.
Well, do you know, I've just seen the photo of you, unrecognisable actually, twice your size. But then I don't want to, be negative about that larger period, because maybe there were lots of good things in your life then as well. I don't know.
To be honest, not so much, and a lot of food, if I'm totally honest. But actually, there's still quite a lot of food in my life now, and that's been part of the trick for me, is because basically I like eating a lot. So how could I learn to eat a lot and basically not get back to the size 22 that I was before? And that there's a lot of stuff about science of food in the book, and then also mentally how you prepare yourself for it and how you fit it into your life. Because that's the big trick, isn't it? It's easy in a way to lose the weight. Well, it's not easy, but you can do it for a short period of time. But how do you do this as part of your life ongoing? And that's the trick, fitting it into what works for you, not thinking there's a simple single solution that will work for everybody.
Isn't this fascinating, this thing of how do you keep it off? Is it because our friend Dr. Sarah Jarvis says she hasn't eaten a croissant for 40 years. And I think I'm not able to show that level of control.
No, me neither. Me neither. Do you know what? Cake and stuff is my downfall. But having said that, I wouldn't eat a croissant, and that's part of it, because I choose to love cake rather than croissant, because I think croissants aren't quite worth the calories that are in them. So, do you know what I mean? So a lot of it's about choices. What will I have, and what will I be able to say no to?
Is there anyone got any thoughts? This is very interesting. Not so much getting it off, but keeping it off. Narinda?
Well, I used to be a bit overweight, and well, I prefer to say curvy. Yeah, I agree with you. I would never choose a croissant over a cake. A cake will always win. But I think I've got friends who will say, how do you stop? They'll eat a whole bar of chocolate. I'll say I just have a couple of chunks. It's just willpower, because I want to look good in clothes. I want to look good.
I can't do 2 chunks of chocolate.
I can.
I have to do 4.
Yeah, 2
what
chunks
about
is
you,
called
Emily?
cheese. Well, I love cheese and I love chocolate and I love wine, and I've got a husband who also loves all of that stuff. Peg, I don't know if you've got a partner, but if your partner... Yeah. So I've got a male partner who can obviously eat a lot more than I can, and I find that I just eat the same as him, which is obviously disastrous for me because he's much bigger and taller than I am. Have you got any advice on what to do if your partner is a bit piggy?
Yeah, because I mean, I've got the same. I've got a skinny partner. It doesn't matter what they seem to put in their body. Do you know what I mean?
It's so annoying.
Dead skinny. Well, not so much now we're over 50. Not so much, to be quite honest. It is starting to show, if the truth be told. But, yeah, I think part of it is about creating ways that work with the people that you live with and your family, and thinking, how does it work for them and how does it work for me? And maybe sometimes not eating the same stuff. Or I kind of do hybrid meals and arrangements, and I've got deals with him where I say, just don't put that in front of me. I mean, I remember one Christmas, I offered him some chocolates, and he said, no, I'll have them on Boxing Day. I was like, you must be joking, mate. There won't be any chocolates left by Boxing Day because they're all going to be in my stomach. So he's had to learn to work around me as well.
It's very hard when you've got kids as well, because I've got teenage kids and my daughter will eat crisps, chocolates, everything, and they still stay slim. But it is willpower, because they will sit and have crisps and chocolate and I won't have it. I will literally not touch it.
I don't know, because I think if you've got teenage girls in the house, what you don't want to be doing is having conversations about weight at all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
So I just think, yeah, okay. Fascinating, Peg. Fascinating. Story, Daily Mail, Braverman, Home Secretary, tells the police to get stuck in, right, on the climate so-called extremists. So the first thing that happens, and I'll show you a tweet now from an LBC reporter, is in Hertfordshire, they go in and they arrest... So we're going to have a look at this tweet from, here we are, Charlotte Lynch, LBC. Yesterday I was arrested by Herts police covering a protest on the M25. I showed my press card. I was handcuffed almost immediately, searched twice, held in a cell for 5 hours. Not just her. She said it was terrifying. I was in a cell with a pad for a bed in one corner and a metal toilet in the other. and that happened to a photographer as well. I mean, I don't know what's the problem with Hertfordshire Police. They do nothing, and then they arrest everyone. Peg.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of LBC yesterday. I really felt for Charlotte because I do loads and loads of live reporting, you know, out and about, and you're out on your own. You're just kind of out there, and you feel quite vulnerable, and you've got a job to do, and your job is to get the stories, is to get the news out there. So I really feel for her that, as you say, she suddenly found herself in that you know, in the police cell. But you know, I'm a little bit torn. I'll be honest, I'm a bit torn about the tactics on this. I am not torn about what they're trying to achieve, just stop oil. Because frankly, the scientists are really clear. If we want to stop the planet going to a point where it really questions how we survive, we have got to keep fossil fuels in the ground. We've got to stop no more fossil fuels and really with them on the methods. And I understand exactly why they go, Parliament does not work. Sure. It doesn't, because if it did, we wouldn't
hang on,
be in this situation.
in a way we all,
you know,
sorry, I'm interrupting because we all agree with that. The problem is this, what we're seeing on screen now, which is people hanging off a gantry. I mean, Narendra, you don't think this is cool?
I do. I think it's great. I think they're passionate. They're fighting for a cause.
You think you do, really?
Yeah, and I think the police, this whole police thing, they can't. You know, if they don't do enough, they're in trouble.
Have you not been delayed by these people?
Sorry?
Have you not been delayed by these people on the roads?
I've been delayed by many people, including them. I've been delayed we're always delayed. Why always blame them? They're passionate, they're young, they're fighting for something. Emily, I just saw you do this again, and you're not agreeing.
Well, so she's just doing
Let's do the hair out my face. I thought you were saying, no, do the hair out my face.
Passive aggressive. So, Emily, where are you on the gantry people?
Oh, I'm torn. So on the one hand, when they're spraying orange paint, which is made from oil, made from petroleum.
Washable.
And over MI5 and over the Bank of England, this is criminal damage. These are old buildings, and I love architecture. I think this is really bad. I love this old boy. Love it. Anyway, terrible. I tell you what really changed, the video of the young activist on the gantry who's still in prison was really moving. But on the other hand, yesterday there was the crash on the M25. There was someone who was on his way to his father's funeral. He missed his father's funeral because he was stuck on the M25. I think it's very difficult. I'm a bit with Peg. I think the message that they have is very important, and we're talking about it. Our kids are talking about it. It's really important. Parliament doesn't work, unfortunately. On the other hand, that direct action, the paint, the people being delayed, particularly when, you know, if
that's the point. If they're not meant to protest for it to be kind and fit in with our day.
You're protesting. Let me show you this tweet. Right, this is a tweet from somebody about a particular person who appeared on, on TV discussing all what was been going on, and her name was Indigo Rumbelow. And this person says, choose your own Just Stop activist name by using a favourite colour and picking a now defunct business. I'm Lavender Woolworths.
What?
Narinda.
What? Do you know what? That's so unfair. I really think that's so unfair. You know, so some people have chosen alternative names, right? Really get over it. It's crazy. Do you know what I mean? People these young people are saying they have no future and they don't know what else to do. And so the people who have vested interest in keeping the oil industry and the fossil fuel industry are going, let's have a go at them for their names. I mean, really,
it's a weekday.
It's a weekday.
Yeah, of course it is.
But
it's a fun challenge.
Presumably, it's a nudge at the fact that they're all posh.
But I've seen this as well, that they're all entitled, they're all posh kids. I don't care what they are, as long as they're bringing some kind of, they've got us all talking about it, and we should be doing something.
What would your name be if you chose a colour and then a high street store?
Violet BHS.
Ooh. Violet BHS. Well, go on. Go on.
Turquoise Victoria's Secrets.
I was about to say Victoria's Secret.
Oh, no!
Oh, my God.
I'd say
I don't think Peg's impressed with this joke.
Pink Pretty Little Thing.
No, I was going to say,
go on, Peg.
I say I would definitely be Pink Charity Shop. There we go, because I'm on the new clothes.
Pink Charity is a great name.
Yeah, I would be Lime Hotel Chocolat.
Oh,
nice. Okay, I'm going on TV as that. On a gantry somewhere. Narinda, in the Mail, you've got they're talking about 50p tax rate. In other words, big tax rate that Gordon Brown brought in once. And there's a problem here for the Conservatives, is there?
Well, yeah, because they're going back on their manifesto that they said that they wouldn't be doing this. And Liz Truss just, a month ago, they were going to cut the 50p tax. And now they're bringing it back. And maybe even to people earning 140k. I don't think this is going to work. People will just take their money elsewhere. They'll go abroad. And why is it always the people who are earning the most, people who are working hard, they get taxed 50%? How is that fair, Emily? How is that fair?
What about the introducing a new top-rated tax? Well, I think it's difficult. I mean, I'm not sure it would actually raise that much money. I mean, when we had that ill-fated budget with Quasi-Quatang Liz Truss last month, cutting the 45p top rate would only cost the Treasury $2 billion. So introducing a new top rate, reintroducing, which of course Labour, the Tories got rid of, Darling introduced it in his budget, I think in 2010. I'm not sure it would actually bring a huge amount of money back into the economy, and it does mean that, there's the age-old argument of it stymies investment and we have a brain drain. I mean, look, I think it's symbolic. I think the Tories have got a massive problem. We're going to hear in a couple of weeks' time what their plan is to fill the coffers. We've talked a lot about the nurses and the problems with public sector. We've run out of money. There's not enough money, and the government have to do something.
Is that true?
Go on, Peg.
Is that true? Is that true? We're all saying there's not enough money. Do you know what I mean? Our debt to GDP ratio is actually less than countries like the USA and Canada and Japan and France. Countries all the time run big debts.
But hang on a minute, that's an argument for borrowing, which would mean our kids have to pay it back through their taxes, paying back money they haven't even spent.
Not necessarily. You just keep borrowing.
Really?
There's decisions and choices to be made here, and I don't think we should say that there is necessarily this massive black hole that has to be filled. There are decisions and choices.
I was talking to some friends who all my friends are much cleverer than me, and they all said what Peg said. They just said, you don't understand economics if you think we have to pay it back. We don't ever have to pay it back. As long as you print your own money, you just keep printing. And I said one word, Zimbabwe, right? Where last time I went to Zimbabwe, an egg cost $6, and it now costs $6 million. That's what happens if you print money.
I remember going to Zimbabwe and being absolutely shocked when I saw people with bags full of cash.
Yes.
Because because those $10 or $20 is worthless. And going to a cash exchange in Zimbabwe. I mean, Zimbabwe used to be the breadbasket of Africa. It's been destroyed.
Zimbabwe wasn't where you had the diarrhea incident, was it?
Remember
where you?
No, that was Indonesia. Well remembered. I think we'll move on.
I remember these
Your
things.
memory, honestly. Okay, Emily. Are we allowed to say this next story is brilliant? The Russians are having to make a U-turn.
Yes, I mean, we never thought we could say those words, did we? This is fantastic. The Russians are being forced to withdraw from Kherson, where they effectively had a stronghold over the city. It was a real feather in their cap. They incursion into Ukraine. Now they're having to withdraw on a televised Russian. I mean, the Russians have actually put this out themselves.
They've got one of the generals. Is it Sukhov, the general?
Sergei Shoigu, if I pronounce that rightly.
Shoigu, I'm sorry.
Begin to pull out troops. The Russian defense minister told Sergei Surovikin, the commander in Ukraine. Now, on the face of it...
By the way, pictures which Putin stayed out of, we should say. He leaves it to his generals.
Absolutely. Probably the commander in Ukraine might have a very nasty accident in a couple of months' time. Anyway, on the face of it, this should be very good news. However, Kyiv, Zelensky has said, actually, what we're worried about is this is a ruse. It's been so public. The Russians obviously it's very unusual for the Russians to ever literally cede ground.
I think it's a ploy. I think something's going to...
Well...
I think they haven't retreated because they're losing.
What you don't allow them is a safe retreat. I mean, the idea, can we leave quietly now? No. I'm sorry. You become prisoners of war.
And there's been some reports also that Russian soldiers have stayed in Kherson, dressed as civilians, taken over, domestic housing. So watch this space. Obviously, on the face of it, really good news. But, the Russian war in Ukraine, we're in for the long haul.
Okay, we've got to crack on now. So quickly, Peg, the abuse of politicians is revealed.
Yeah, it's just awful. This, isn't it? What kind of society have we got to when we think it's okay not to have political debate? Because obviously that's fine, isn't it? That's what we're doing here. But when we think it's okay to be really personally abusive to people, and also, the women politicians, they get it so much worse. I gave up politics years ago because I decided I wasn't hard enough to cope with the kind of the barrage that you get. And I was in a political party that was really, really supportive, but I wanted to create a fairer kind of world. And I thought, how do I do that if I have to become really hard in order to survive in the system?
Yeah, abuse is
really,
almost the default language. Abuse is the default language of social media. There we are. Yeah, I think so. Okay, this is something else now. I filmed this, all right, 2 days ago. Heading home, let's have a look. I'll show you what happens here.
And you'll see
So I'm going down the left side of a bus. Watch this one.
This lady's dropped something.
She dropped her money.
Let's freeze it. She also wants to get on the bus, so she is conflicted. Does she pick it up or does she get on the bus?
All right, take your time. Hey, come on, she's picking up her money, man.
He wasn't going to wait.
She's left her money here.
She had to leave her money in the road.
So I posed the question about this, which is whether the bus driver's right to hoot, to say, you know, I need to get cracking here.
I think he was right.
Do you?
And I tell you why. I mean, yes, it's because he's got traffic behind him, beeping him, horning him. He's under pressure as well. Everyone's under pressure. I'm not saying he's completely right, but he could have been. The money was scattered everywhere. She would have been there another 5 minutes.
Emily?
Traffic's building up.
Hoot?
He could have waited. I would say no, he should have waited
Look,
more.
imagine, Narinda, you're in a supermarket and you drop your money and the person says, right, okay, she obviously can't do it. Next customer.
I would
That's
like
what
that because that happens to me and I'm always waiting and someone can't get their card out and they can't do this and I'm in a hurry. People are in a hurry. We've got things.
So we're brutal,
posed
aren't
actually
we?
two other questions for me. Is it acceptable for Jeremy to use the term man? Was one.
Come on,
And
man.
also,
Also, I went a bit New York. Hey,
you
come
went
on, man.
American
She's
for like
getting
2
her
seconds.
money.
And then the other thing is, should you have picked up the money yourself? And if so, what do you then do with
Well,
it?
someone...
Did you pick it up?
No, I didn't pick it up. I would have chased after the bus. I was thinking of saying, look, I've got your money. Somebody on Twitter then analysed the coins and said it was 56p. It's not worth stopping for. Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought it's worth stopping up.
Oh, yeah.
Charity, but
Oh, yeah, definitely. Where are you on the bus stopping, Peg?
I'm with you, Jeremy, totally with you. Do you know what? It would have taken a few seconds.
Yeah.
What kind of world are
100%.
we living in when we go, oh, it's more important that I'm on time than a few seconds for someone who's dropped a bit of money? Let's show a bit of kindness, for goodness sake.
I'm just in passing going to mention Jennifer Aniston, who's appeared and talked about an IVF attempt, and she regrets not freezing her eggs, and she's given us a rather amazing photo session. We haven't got time to comment further.
oh,
I know you want to.
so much to say.
Go on, in one sentence.
If I had Brad Pitt, I would have had about 10 babies.
Poor
Well,
Jennifer.
I don't know, but
Poor
it may be
Jennifer.
an infertility thing. I don't
Yeah.
know.
She tries and tries through IVF.
It wasn't that she waited too long.
Oh, I thought it was because she waited too
No,
long. 'cause
I
she's
think
got to
she
50.
genuinely wasn't unable to.
Ah.
But you raise a good point. Storm.
Well, that's
Hello.
a weird U-turn to have. But anyway, what marks Christmas more than a John Lewis advert? And it is the start of Christmas because it has, as you love this comment, dropped, Jeremy.
It's dropped.
Yes, and it's very different to what we've seen in previous years, I believe. So I think we can take a look at it, actually.
Ways I know you'll be at mine. Carry me home.
Hey, Ellie.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. I'd skate a bit too.
You want to come in?
No, I
God,
mean,
I'm such a sucker for a
Oh,
John
God, I
Lewis
feel like
advert.
crying.
do you
I
understand the plot line there?
Yeah, so the man and the woman are fostering the little girl, so he's preparing for her to come, so he's trying to get into the things that she's into.
Okay.
Oh, God, I feel like crying watching that. It was so
Oh,
sad.
no. Are you emotional?
Yeah, I actually,
Emily's not emotional.
I didn't understand it until right at the end when I saw the broken wrist and the skateboard. And then I think right at the end it said something like 1,800 children
Yeah, in
are in
care.
taking
Yeah.
care. And I mean, one thing I'd ask is John Lewis making a donation to care charities. That'd be also
They
nice.
probably would be. They probably
I don't. I mean, that was like line of duty. I keep having to spool it back and work out what I missed, but I think we missed the beginning of it. So it's lovely that they've got. There's a cost of living theme there, Peg, as well, isn't there? Which is crucial. Underneath the Christmas tree, they didn't have any presents.
Yeah, and do you know what? I would say, I mean, one of the things I would say is obviously John Lewis adverts are great, but you know, you don't have to give people things for Christmas. You can actually give people time and effort and love and stuff. In our family, I come from a massive family, actually, one of whom grew up in care. So I know all about what that means. But in our family, we often set things like a £2 limit on presents. You still have a fab Christmas. I tell you what, you put more effort and time into finding someone a present for £2 than you do probably just popping to a shop and spending 25 or 30.
Good point. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I found a present for my wife.
Amazing.
Just this, I just happened.
just
I
this
was
morning?
looking on. I might bring it in tomorrow because
Was
she's
it
not.
£2?
Is it what? I mean, it was a night. It was a beautiful thing, but I don't want to say more. I might. I'll bring it.
Tell us in January. Tell us in
January.
January.
So that's it from me. Don't go anywhere because Storm will continue in a moment.
It certainly will, yes. The conversation will continue with Emily Carver and Henry Bonsu, who will be joining me on the panel. We're going to be discussing the Cabinet Minister who said nurses usually only use food banks if the boiler's broken or the relationship has ended. Gillian Keegan made the comments while donning a £10,000 Rolex. That didn't help. So does she need to say sorry? We'd also love your calls on whether tummy tucks and liposuction should be available on the NHS. They are planning to stop offering treatments like this on the National Health Service, but is that fair? And then plus we're going to be joined by parenting author Liz Fraser, and she'll be here to answer any questions that you might have on how to manage a toddler when they are having one of those tantrums. So get your calls in now. 0207 862 2222 is the number.
Well, thank you sorry, Storm, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Emily, Narinda, thank you. And Peg, especially, thank you so much for joining us, telling us about your book. Really excited to see that when it comes out.